Have you chosen an animal?
I have. Crocodilia.
Oh, yes, you did. You said the crocodile. I said a black panther.
I can see that.
Yes.
Totally see it. But we're opening up in the most beautiful way this morning to some wildlife, because we certainly cannot imagine, a world without nature. And I think especially if you live in South Africa, that world truly just doesn't exist, even in our minds. And today we're celebrating World Wildlife Day. We are welcoming onto the show Head of Business Development at WWF South Africa, Justin Smith.
Good morning, Justin.
Morning, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for joining us. Justin's going to be joining us to talk about the importance of prioritizing and preserving wildlife, and to talk more about the campaign that WWF is currently running. It's called World Without Nature, and to be honest, we cannot picture that. Justin, now you said that human life cannot be sustained without nature, and the increasing crisis will eventually result in the collapse of the world. Now, why is it important to prioritize a day like today, World Wildlife Day?
Zoe, I think it really highlights every single species we have on the planet is important in terms of our broader ecosystems. And as you mentioned, we rely on nature for so much of what we have in our daily lives and our businesses, for our food, our fuel, medicines, healthcare services. That nature regulates our climate. There's pretty much no way we can exist on a dead planet. And unfortunately, what we've been doing over the last 50, 100 years is really, destroying our biodiversity across the world at an alarming rate. We've lost almost 68% of all biodiversity in the last 50 years.
Sure.
And every single additional species that goes is one cog in this great wheel of our ecosystems. So we actually don't realize the impacts we're having if we continue to decimate our different species, whether they be animals, plants, birds, reptiles, etc. They all have an important role to play in really sustaining that ecosystem that we as people depend upon.
And it's so scary to hear all of those figures coming through. Every time we hear those stories or those reports, it really is the most heartbreaking thing to hear. And we know that South Africa is the largest exporter of hunting trophies in Africa, but also the second largest exporter globally behind the United States. What are organizations such as yours, the WWF, doing to really help mitigate this problem?
So I think most South Africans are aware of some of the bigger poaching issues we have, particularly around rhinos in South Africa. It's really highlighted this conflict between, appreciating nature for what it is and trying to utilize nature for our own incorrect kind of methods. We know rhino horn has no purpose and no value, yet, there's people around the world that think it's incredibly useful, which is crazy. But, South Africa is one of the 10 most biodiverse countries in the world. We've got these incredible natural systems that attract tourists, that create jobs for us as South Africans. So if we don't preserve this incredible country and the nature we have around us, it's not only a bad thing from the environmental perspective, it's really criminal from a social perspective and from an economic development perspective as well. And I think that's a really strong message that WWF is trying to get across. We're all intricately connected. This is about people and nature, and the dependencies we have on each other.
Yeah, very important. Now, Justin, you also made it known that environmental issues and the preservation thereof is no longer a sole concern for the organizations such as WWF, but that it should also be prioritized by businesses and the government. Now, has WWF teamed up with any of the government in any way to reduce poaching or to prioritize, the preservation of wildlife?
Yeah, we work with all of our national parks as well as our provincial park agencies to extend our national parks and provincial parks to help with management capacity in terms of reducing possibility of poaching conflicts as well. So it is a very big partnership for us. We know there's many businesses who also support these efforts, and we're really grateful to them for doing that. I think more and more businesses are understanding, both in their own operations and also in their supply chains, they depend on nature tremendously. Most of our food and beverage companies, if we don't understand where their food comes from, how it's produced, and that's going to continue to be available, they don't have a business. So there's these very close links that are being created. And I think part of what we're trying to do today with our World Without Nature campaign is just get people to think a little bit about how their lives would be if there wasn't nature in it. So, part of that is various organizations, including ourselves, sporting teams and businesses, removing any kind of nature-related aspects from their brands, from their logos, just to get people thinking a little bit about what that world would be like without nature. We think it would be terrible, and that it wouldn't be able to sustain our lives. And hopefully more people will understand that they've also got a role to play in preserving nature.
Oh, man. You know, I always say that a conversation like this and what you guys are always championing is best placed in a top-of-mind sort of environment. You want people to constantly be reminded, even though that shouldn't be the case. And today, you are going to run or start a campaign called the World Without Nature, hashtag World Without Nature, which highlights the environmental crisis that, you know, we are facing at the moment. Would you please tell us more about this campaign and what your aim is with this campaign, how we can all get involved and right behind you and really making sure everybody knows the message?
Sure. So our hopefully relatively well-known panda logo flashed up on screen there, and it's one of the most well-known NGO logos across the world. But it's gone for today, and you know we've got quite a few sporting clubs and different organisations in South Africa and across the world that are doing the same.
Oh, wow.
We're really grateful of our sporting teams like the Pumas, the Dolphins, the Cheetahs, organisations like Gumtree who are removing any sort of nature-related aspects from their brands today, and hopefully talking to their supporter bases and highlighting this connection we have and this dependency we have around nature. Hopefully we can get more people to just think a little bit about what we need to together to you know, secure our biodiversity, protect the wildlife species in South Africa and the benefits they offer us from a tourism and from a job creation perspective as well. So we really want to get the conversation started. Have a look on social media and see who else is participating today. If there's organizations you know who've got nature in their brands and they're not participating, you know, ask them why not. We'd love to work with them in the future.
That's it.
Oh, I got goosebumps just seeing those logos, minus the nature, minus the trees, minus the animals. That's insane. Justin Smith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Excited to do so.
Oh, well, there you have it, Mzansi. The message is loud and clear. We should all be rallying behind WWF and our planet. It's an urgent plight. Therefore, don't go out, don't forget to go out and support and read up all about these initiatives and all of these campaigns run by WWF. Thank you, Justin.